What a week it's been. Epic battles, last-minute twists, harsh words, gauntlets thrown down left, right and centre, and remarkable scenes for all the fans. But enough about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. It's time for a bit of Soccer Saturday. Yes, it's me, Geordie Pete Redding. It's him, George TFA, and somewhere in there is Danny Guthrie. Can't see him or hear him. The wonders of modern technology, even. Welcome along to another Hollywood Balls and Soccer Saturday. By the way, today's show is brought to you by NordVPN, our brand new partner at Hollywood Balls. So grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com, Hollywood Balls. You get a huge discount from the plan, plus free threat protection, and it's all free as well. So if you're watching on Hollywood Balls Live TV as well, then don't forget, you're in line today for 20 billion Panda token from the man himself who's sitting next to me. Join us on our Facebook page afterwards. With Liverpool at the tune today, who better to get us to cast their thoughts over it than our ex-Liverpool and Newcastle player, Danny Guthrie. I think he's struggling to get in, so we'll see what happens there. Now, listen, you can keep your George Clooney's, you can keep your George Bush, you can keep your George Harrison for that matter. The only George that matters is with us today. How are you, mate?
I'm doing great, thank you, Pete. Hi, everybody. Great to be back.
Good to have you with us, George. Listen, before we get going, just have a play with your mic, George, because I'm getting a little bit of crackle from you. I want to say a big good luck to these guys today who are playing. It's the Cramlington Hoops, and they're playing in a tournament in Bridlington. Now, Sean Maguire is playing up front. He's playing lone striker today, by the way. He's the son of my great friend, Mick Maguire, and I want to wish him and the Hoops all the best of luck today in that. So go get it, George. He's got a bit of a challenge on the young lad. He's playing lone striker.
That's great. What age group is it? Under 14s?
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. Danny Guthrie's in the house.
Pete,
No,
can you hear me, everyone?
we can hear you loud and clear.
Good.
I think Danny was probably going to give me one of his famous tackles. He had some technical issues, which was down to us, but he's here. Just saying, Danny, just saying to George that my good friend's son is playing in a tournament today for Cramlington Hoops, but he's got the lone striker role. He's got a lot on his plate, hasn't he, being up top on his own?
Up top on his own, is he? Yeah. Is he the big man, big target man, or going behind?
Yeah. Well, we've just got him. Mick says here he is. He's up there, top right. So yeah, it looks like he could do a job.
Size,
yeah. Size. So we wish them well. Now, Mick is a Tottenham fan based up in Newcastle, but we'll let him off with that. So good luck to all of them today taking part in that. Okay, going to get straight into business. Great to have you on, Danny, because it's a game today that's intrigued everyone, and it's two clubs that you played for, obviously. But there's just a little bit of uncertainty from Liverpool. I was just saying to George off air, I think it's a step too far for Newcastle, perhaps, but you never know in football. But Liverpool won't fancy that trip to St James's today, will they?
No, I think it'll be one of the fixtures they're looking at, or would have been looking at, thinking, especially as of late, what is it, 10 in 14 for Newcastle or something like that? And listen, when Newcastle as a club are confident in good flow, going to St James's is never an easy task for any team. So, I mean, vice versa. I mean, it's a really difficult game for Newcastle, but
absolutely,
with the confidence and the crowd behind them, I'm sure Liverpool are going to have to weather some storms today.
George, it's a one you're looking forward to, and it's a great one for the neutral, isn't it?
Yeah, listen, the thing I like about this the most, the setup is really nice because, as Danny says, Newcastle are in great form. Liverpool are obviously in great form. But you've got the added dynamic that Newcastle has nothing to lose. They're expected to lose, right? They're not the favourites. So I'm expecting a really good game. I really am expecting a good game. I do think it'll be a little bit too much for Newcastle, but you never know. It's the beautiful game. You know, when you have nothing to lose and you're playing free-flowing football and you're confident like Newcastle is, anything could happen. I'm really looking forward to it.
Me too. I'm glad you said your catchphrase, by the way, George, because it really was the beautiful game. And you were texting me midweek with sheer Champions League excitement. Now, Ali Khaled, our Ali, managed to get a last-minute trip to the UK. He's travelling back to the UAE today, but he got to see his beloved Liverpool, but he also got invited to go to Man City, Real Madrid, George. What a game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What a game. What a game. I mean, 4-3, it could have been 8-5, you know. One of the most exciting, engaging games in a long time. It's a credit to the game, a credit to both clubs. It's the beautiful game. The only downside of the game is the referee blew up for full time, you know.
Yeah, could have let it go on.
I mean, what a game. I mean, it was so engaging. I do think City they lost a little bit of composure. My perception, at least, is they haven't got that far in their competition. They're nervous of getting to that final. And I think they made some defensive mistakes. But Real Madrid stayed in the game. And anybody can win now, right? But what a penalty, huh?
Oh yeah, I mean, in that scenario as well, to take it like that is absolutely incredible. Second game of that week, Danny, Liverpool, and it's still, I mean, you know, they're probably for me the best team on the planet at the moment, and I include Man City in that. But
yeah,
Danny, they're still saying, you know, they wish they'd had that cushion of maybe a third goal to absolutely kill the tie. Do you think they'd be going over there thinking an early goal for them as well, or?
Yeah, you know that one's not over.
Okay.
2-0's not a big enough score to go over there and relax. I think the major positive to come out of that game was they were able to conserve a lot of energy compared to say City, who had to it was a difficult game for City, but made by themselves. But I think in terms of the Premier League, it puts Liverpool today in just a different physical place than City might be, even though they've got the couple of hours extra on the kickoff. I just think Liverpool was so comfortable that night that they were able to sub players. It wasn't as physically as demanding as the Real Madrid game, which was, you know, the tempo for 90 minutes was, you know, up there. So sooner or later, I can't see both teams just winning every Premier League game. So sooner or later, it's going to happen. I think one of them. And if I'm looking at the midweek games, you would say it was a bit more taxing on City.
I've got to say, Danny, because the team news is due out in 20 minutes for that game at Newcastle. Klopp's got a bit of a head scratcher, hasn't he? Because ideally, he would have liked to have put that tie to bed, but in the back of his mind, it'll still be there's a job to do there. There's still a job because they're playing catch up in the Premier League. So it's not like he can really rest anyone, is it? Or can he?
I think from the front three, I think he can. I think what comes in at the minute from the front three, whether it's Jota, Diaz or Firmino, I think they've all hit form at the right time for him to be able to make these changes. You know, the midfield one sometimes, the way Thiago's playing, do you want to play him?
He's
in both
unbelievable
games?
At the minute.
Yeah, and Liverpool don't have another Thiago, so that's probably the one area. Who plays with Van Dijk? Matip, does he rest? So yeah, there is a couple for him, but in terms of the front three, I think he'd be pretty comfortable whatever he puts out in either game.
George, your beloved Spurs still showed Newcastle's defensive frailties. that day.
Yeah,
And
listen,
if Harry Kane can do it, so Liverpool have got 3 or 4 that can as well.
yeah, I think Liverpool's squad is the best ever squad they've ever had, in my opinion. You look at, I mean, Danny touched on it. You look at some of the players Klopp brought on during the week. They made a great acquisition in the January window. Who's a great player. We were hoping Spurs would get him, but Liverpool got him last minute. I think Liverpool is the best team in the world right now.
Yeah.
I do think they'll get through. 2-0 is never enough, to Danny's point, but the way Liverpool play, I think it'll be too much for Villarreal. And it could be another Liverpool City final, right, in the Champions League.
I think so.
Really interesting. But today's going to be a fun game with Newcastle. Like I say, nothing to lose. I'm expecting a lot of good football. And if Newcastle have got the bit in between the teeth, it could be an interesting game. That's for sure.
Danny knows, because we've touched on this before. We've talked about it. And he knows because he's been in that St. James's Park crowd. You get an early goal there at St. James's. If the two get an early goal, that place will be lifted. And believe me, I know, because let's just say the cafeterias and restaurants / hostelries have been open since 6 a.m. this morning. Bank holiday weekend, it will be bouncing. You say as well, Danny, that a tricky tie for Liverpool today, but again, the same for Man City, really, because Leeds are looking all right, aren't they? And Elland Road's a similar sort of place to go, where you could choose other clubs ahead of playing against them, couldn't you?
Absolutely. And the only thing that I'd touch on with the two games is because of Newcastle's confidence, and because where they are in the league now, and they've done wonderful. They've got themselves safe and they're looking up. They will go for the game, and I think the crowd will drive them on. And I think that might play into Liverpool's hands when the game opens up and the spaces are there. Where the other one, I'm looking at Leeds, and they still need points. The new coach has come in, he's tightened everything up. They look a more solid unit. And as I say, when teams need points, we've seen City struggle, with a couple of 0-0s. If they can't break someone down, they haven't got that striker. So looking at it from that point of view, I think just the two teams are in different places in terms of Newcastle and Leeds and what they need today. So I can see it playing in Liverpool's hands, with Newcastle, giving it an absolute good go. And I think that plays into Liverpool's hands slightly.
Kev's on TV duty today, which is fortunate, because I probably feel the wrath of them. But I've got to ask you two, as maybe not so much neutrals, but George, you are. Everton, Liverpool. I want to touch on the derby. I want to get this out of the way and put this to bed, because it's a subject that everyone's been on about all week. I understand Kev's point. I understand Alan Stubbs' point. And the 2 points that I'm referring to are, first and foremost, George, Everton's style in that first half of a game, a local derby, where the ball was in play for 28 minutes out of the 45 in a local derby. Is that right? And second, to come back to you after you've answered that, is Gordon didn't get the second penalty. And for me, that's because of his behaviour prior to that. What do you think?
So you got to put yourself in Everton's shoes as a fan.
Yep.
If you're an Everton fan, you're fighting for survival. You're playing your biggest rivals, who are the best team in the world.
Yeah.
Right? You're playing at Anfield. If I'm an Evertonian, I'm okay the way they played, because they played in a deliberate way. They played not to lose and try and nick a win. So I'm okay with that. Now, did that boy dive early on when he got the, yes, he did. Did he deserve a yellow card for it? Yes. But there's an inconsistency, right? Does every player get a yellow card that dives? The answer is no. So I feel bad for him for that. But it's a failure of the officials. Yeah. It doesn't matter if he dived before or not.
It's still a freak. It's still a foul.
Penalty. It's a stonewall penalty. Now, if Everton were in 10th position, maybe that point could cost them one position. They ended up 11th. Who knows? but they're fighting for relegation. You know, it was early in the second half. They had a dogged display. Liverpool didn't have too many chances in the first half. If they go 1-0 up, they go up in confidence. Maybe Liverpool get rattled. Who knows what happens? You know, I'm not saying Everton would have won, but it would have been really interesting. But they were denied that opportunity by, yet again, very poor officiating for big decisions. I don't think it's personal. I don't think it's pro-Liverpool. Right? I don't think that. I just think officials are terrible. And I agree with Kevin. Super Kev said on TV, the referee bottled it. Absolutely, he bottled it. It's terrible. And, you know, there's no accountability with these guys. It could be the difference between Everton surviving and going down, right?
Yeah. Again, Danny, it's something that you and I chatted about this week. Trying to look at it from a Liverpool angle. They made it difficult, didn't they? And you made a really good point. If that penalty was given and Everton stepped up and scored, you're looking at a completely different result, possibly.
Well, the thing is, Pete, is I understand the tactics. I understand why, like we've touched on, you know, where Everton are. And if they do go and get that penalty, and it was a penalty, and the referee did bottle it, he put the whistle, he thought about it, and for whatever reason, he decided not to give it. But if they did get that penalty and they go 1-0 up, and they possibly win the game, or they nick a draw, you know, you're turning around going, wow, what a performance, Frank Lampard, brilliant plan. And it's the fine lines for the manager. We look back now and everyone's up in arms, terrible tactics, terrible this, but it was so close that it nearly worked for them. Because let's be honest, if they'd have gone the other way about it and treated it as a typical derby, or, you know, gone head to head, toe to toe with Liverpool, it could have been a mauling, which would have been terrible for him at this stage of the season. So I can see why. In terms of Gordon, first and foremost, he was a pain in the backside for Liverpool the whole day. He was brilliant. He caused Trent all sorts of problems from the first minute. And unfortunately, I just think, you know, referees, they are humans, and I think the human nature comes into it. I think Gordon had annoyed the referee all game with the diving and the moaning and the stuff like that. And I think sometimes psychologically you could annoy a referee where he won't help you out later in the game. And you know, I've been on the pitch, I've seen it. You know, these guys, it happens.
But Danny, I agree completely. But Danny, surely that's one of the reasons for VAR, right?
Absolutely.
You know, the VAR officials, and I always state, and I will restate, VAR is not a problem. It's the morons operating it that's the problem, right?
Absolutely. I don't understand why it wasn't used, yeah?
Right? You know, they should have reached out to the ref and said, hey, look, you want to look at that again? That's a pen, right?
Absolutely.
You know, that's why it's so frustrating. And I have no dog in this fight. I feel sorry for Everton, to be candid, because they're the underdogs. There's an increasing likelihood they could go down. And they didn't get what they deserved in that incident. It was a clear penalty.
Do you think if it wasn't Gordon and it was Richarlison, if it was a different player, he would have given it?
Maybe. But that's a poor reflection on the referee.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, he's a young player. He was man of match for me. As you say, I mean, there aren't many players that cause Liverpool so many problems. I haven't seen that, you know, hardly at all this season. But it was just a poor decision. And it's just not that isolated incident. The whole season we have been littered with terrible mistakes for big decisions. And it's gone against all clubs and for all clubs. And for the best league in the world, it's unacceptable that Serie A or La Liga or the Bundesliga have better refereeing standards than we do. It's an embarrassment. Mike Riley should just do the honourable thing and resign, man. It's terrible. Just terrible.
I've got to say though, so you said Everton did well, and they did what their plan was. But I've got to make a note. So when Frank Lampard's doing that midweek, Danny, and he's saying, right, this is what we're going to do. we're going to be doing this, we're going to be doing that, and we're going to be annoying and frustrating. Richarlison's hands first up, isn't it? He said, "Oh, Gaffer, I can do that," because he was an absolute legend at literally getting on everyone. He was a pain in everyone's behind, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. I think it was annoying to watch, and you know, not that he would be bothered, but I'm sure, you know, every person watching it is not a fan of the way Richarlison played. But look, if we go back to, you know, what's more important for him being liked, or if they would have possibly got a point or won a game for the team and help them stay up, you know, there's too much riding on it, Pete, to care what you know, the outsiders think.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, George, I've been dying to ask you this all weekend. So finally, we've got news of Man United, where it's all over. The saga's done. Ralph's leaving. He's going to Austria, but he might stay on as a consultant. I was informed last week by John Richardson that it's pronounced Ten Hag, not Ten Hag. So Ten Hag is finally confirmed. My question for you, George, is: do you still build that team around Ronaldo?
No.
Okay. Why not?
It's very and it's very simple. You have to build a blueprint now. If you're a massive club like Manchester United, that you have a blueprint that goes on for 5 years or a decade. I think Ronaldo's 37, still performing incredibly well. You know, does he have a role? Sure. Do you build a team around him? I just don't, and I don't think Ten Hag will. What I'm very confused about is the appointment of the director being the manager of Austria. I thought he was going to be the technical director, and he was going to be the coach or the manager for just a 6-month period.
Maybe he's seen enough.
It's yet another indictment of the mess that's going on at Man United. They don't seem to have a concrete plan and stick to it. It feels like it changes every week, right? I mean, was I the only one to think that? I thought they were very good. They were very clear in their messaging that this guy would be the coach for 6 months and then he'll become the football director, right? The technical director.
Yeah.
Now he's going to become the manager of Austria. If you're a United fan,
maybe it's an easier task.
I'm sure it is. You know,
maybe he's just thought, you know what? I've had a look at this. I've done 6 months. It is. But Danny, do you look at perhaps? And this is an interesting one for me to ask you, given your role. Does Ronaldo have a part to play, perhaps in the coaching setup? We know that he's no spring chicken, but he's still absolute quality.
Yeah, he is.
Pete, I just think I think he's too driven. I don't think he's done. I don't think so he shouldn't. You know, his numbers this year are ridiculous. God help Man United. You know, he's pulled them out of the fire a few times. So he's going to go on. He's going to play. I don't see it next year at United, and the reason for that is the way the new manager's coming in, the way I see the Ajax team play, is they're going to be on the front foot. They're going to be pressing from the front. He's built two sides at Ajax with youth and energy. I think the biggest problem Ralph had at Man United was he was persistent with this, the pressing and the from the front and the high energy. But unfortunately, if you don't have the players to do it and you don't have the ingredients that you need for that style, you have to adapt or you'll die. And I think we've seen just a stubbornness from him to persist with this way of playing. And unfortunately, without the players and to implement that, you've seen it not work out. And I don't think the Ten Hag will make the same mistakes when he comes in.
Yeah.
By the way, I hope John Richardson's right, but I hope it is Ten Hag, because if John Richardson's got it wrong, I'm going to be straight on the phone to him.
I'm going around Dubai now calling him Ten Hag. Yeah.
but the other aspect also, guys, is you've got to consider Ronaldo. Will he want to play for a club that's not in the Champions League, right? He's 37. He wants to win the Champions League again.
I agree.
So it would not surprise me if Ronaldo next season was doing his magic at a club that's in the Champions League. Be that, I mean, I've no idea who that could or could not be, right? Where he could go to. But I think that's a big motivator for him, because to lose one more year outside of the Champions League at the age of 37 will not be appealing for Ronaldo.
Ochendo's just messaged in, and it's something I want to pick up on because Man United fans are correct about this, perhaps. He's saying that Ronaldo, Maguire and the manager's not the problem at Man United, and I know what he's getting at here. He's saying it stems from the top, doesn't it? And I've experienced that with Newcastle United, with Mike Ashley, and whilst it's not his problem who's playing on the pitch and the results, it does stem from what goes on. And there's another demonstration this week, guys, against the owners of Man United. So that must play its part.
Huge. I mean, there's just a huge disconnect between all parts of the club. Like we said, you're bringing in managers that have a certain style. You've got a squad that is a certain style. The signings, who's making them? I hope the new guy who comes in has, the power to have a say in the signings, because we've seen these managers, even Guardiola's and Klopp's. Klopp, prime example. He signs players that are built for his system and his style. He just doesn't go out and just get a big name or pull a player out of nowhere. The player is tailor-made for what he needs and what he asks, and they've got that connect, and I just don't see that at United. I just think it's a bunch of different style of players, and then a manager comes in to try and implement his style, and it's all over the place. And when you watch Man United, they literally are all over the place.
Yeah.
Absolutely. As I wanted to say at the start of the show, a big welcome to our new partners at NordVPN. There is a code there for you guys if you're looking for it. And there's a short message for you. Everyone thinks VPN certain things, but it's not. So just have a listen to this.
Think about the fun things you do online. Diving into movies you love. Shopping. Enjoying free Wi-Fi with your morning coffee. Wait, who's that guy? Meet the Digital Snooper. It can be your internet service provider peeking at what you do online, or a cyber criminal on a mission to snitch your credit card info, or a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. Uh-oh. But don't worry. NordVPN keeps all these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely, even while away from home. The best part? It's just a click. Yep, internet security is that easy.
Okay, if you're interested in that, you can get on to nordvpn.com. And of course, as always at Hollywood Balls, because we give you loads, there's offers on there. So go and have a look. And, we want to be a safe environment, so why not use it? George, although Spurs play on Super Sunday, it is safe to say that the London game of the weekend is your nemesis. It's Arsenal-West Ham, and it's a big game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big game. I think West Ham are correctly occupied with their opportunities in the Europa League, right? So, they're too.
Are they still in that, George?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the 2-1 down at half time. I mean, and they had some great chances to equalise and perhaps win the game. West Ham are definitely still in the game. It's just half time. So accordingly, I don't see them playing a full-strength side against Arsenal. They're not in the hunt for the Champions League, at least from a top four perspective. Winning the Europa League, they would be. So I think I don't think it will be such a spectacle. I think it will be a comfortable victory for Arsenal. Because West Ham are correctly focused on the other side on the second leg.
Danny, as a player, would you have been disappointed coming off after that first leg and just literally itching for the second leg to try and put it right?
I think so, just because I don't think they... I'm not having I'm not having the Germans, and I just think the occasion and a really bad start, which obviously throws all plans out the window. I just don't think they really fully grasped it that night. They were unlucky, but I think they'll be really confident going into the second leg. I don't think there was much there for them to fear, and I think if you'd have asked them a few months ago to overturn a 2-1 deficit in a semi-final to get into a European final, they'd have took that. So there was loads of positives, but I just think a little bit of the occasion. It's a huge occasion for West Ham, and obviously the bad start, which is never ideal. But yeah, that's alive. That's definitely alive. That second leg.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, do you think they underestimated Frankfurt a little bit? I mean, I got that sense in the first half. They kind of underestimated. They played very well, the Germans. I mean, Frankfurt did very well. But I think now West Ham know what they got ahead of them. They know who they're playing. I really fancy West Ham in the second leg. I really do.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Okay. Hi to Jonathan. Hi to Paul. Hi to Taiwo in the house. Hi to our own Fola of Lagos, the girl that helps me keep you lot all in check. Big shout out to her as well. Okay, listen. I just wanted to offer our condolences because they're such a close team to South Shields, who lost their promotion playoff via the heartbreak of a penalty shootout. Absolutely, they can't believe it, but they've dusted themselves down. So what we want to say is the best of luck for the new season, and of course, best wishes go to Jeff, Glenn, and Kevin Phillips. And I'm sure they'll be back stronger than ever next season. So unlucky Mariners, a big crowd was there as well. And in the spirit of the game, fair play to them. They all wished the team the best of luck for the final in the playoff. It's a massive weekend in the Northeast as well, because Sunderland are in action literally after this show. They've got a massive game today at Morecambe. Now listen, George, this is going to make you giggle. We all know my background. We all know that we have Sunderland fans that come on here and whether we're friends with them. But today, I might just be able to help them. So for whatever reason, the EFL cannot show the last games of the season today. But if by chance you had a magic VPN, anyone could watch their beloved Sunderland today, courtesy of NordVPN. So Sunderland fans, if you want to watch your team, here's a Toon fan doing you a favour. Listen, good luck to Sunderland. Good luck to Sheffield Wednesday, who are last day of the season. Sunderland just need a win. And that's all they need to do. But speaking to my friends who are Sunderland fans, they've all said it's never that simple with Sunderland. So good luck to everyone in that. And also good luck to Newcastle United women who make their debut at St James's Park tomorrow. So Georgia Gibson, Becky Langley and all the girls. Now, from what I can hear from my sources, they're going to be playing in front of a full house, literally. There's going to be about 50,000 there tomorrow. And they face Alnwick Town in a historic occasion. So I just wanted to wish them all the very best. It's going to be, what an opportunity, George, for the girls to play at St James's from now on.
Yeah. And they must be so excited, so looking forward to it. And it would not surprise me if the attendance was really good at St James's Park. It's that's as good as a goal for them. It's fantastic.
And it isn't. Danny, George and I were saying, the rise of the women's game is fantastic. And thankfully that's down to the TV as well, because, we weren't getting to see the actual talent that was out there. Some of the goals that have been scored, some of these tight, Chelsea and Arsenal that we know about, but so much more. And thankfully now they're getting the coverage that they deserve.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's when you do sit and watch, it's a really good standard. I mean, I was when I was at Warsaw, it was Aston Villa ladies actually used the Bescot for their home games, and every now and then you'd catch a training session before their games, or see some of the highlights on the Warsaw channel, and it was brilliant, And like you said, it's the coverage changed everything. So the TV and the media, the access to see it changes everything.
The big fight's back on again this weekend, and I'm not talking about Tyson Fury. Celtic and Rangers go head-to-head for the third time in a short space of time. The trilogy, as it's being called. Rangers won the last one, obviously, to get through to the cup final. But George, today, or tomorrow at Celtic Park, against Rangers, they basically wrap the title up against their nearest and dearest. I would love to be a fly on the wall there, would you?
Yeah, as you know, I fancied Rangers for the semi-final.
That won you the points, by the way, in the predictions.
I'll beat Super Kev.
Is it? Yes, you did.
But I fancy Celtic tomorrow because it gets them the title, doesn't it? A victory tomorrow, 3 points against the arch old enemy. What an atmosphere that will be. Celtic
gives them the title, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. Celtic Park will be rocking, man. It will be rocking.
Danny, have you ever thought of in your career about a game like that? Absolutely epic status for derbies. I mean, I know you've been involved in a few, but that's got to be on the bucket list, hasn't it?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I never got the opportunity to do it. I wish I had. I will do it in the future. Everyone that you speak to, whether they played in the Northeast derby or the Liverpool-Everton, there's nothing bigger. Everyone says it. It's huge. But I can imagine they're probably sick of the sight of each other at the minute. So, I fancy Celtic, just like you said, being at home, the opportunity to get the title back. I think, I fancy them.
As Taiwo says, it's Celtic revenge time. And of course, my backing goes to Celtic because George, our old friend, Alan Thompson, who was a legend, the original curly slipper. And when we interviewed him, I asked him about scoring against Rangers, and he said to me, quite rightly, which one? He scored 12 goals against Rangers, and he was never on the losing side, was our Tomo. His new book's out, by the way, Geordie Boy, if you want to go and get it. It's literally, once you pick it up, I was laughing. It's a brilliant book. Okay. So that's the trilogy of Celtic and Rangers. It's time for Baller of the Week, George. There's lots to choose from. Surely you've got maybe it's a European Baller of the Week, but there's plenty to choose from.
Yeah. I've gone for Benzema. Benzema kept Real Madrid in the tie, not just the penalty, although that was super special. I think his presence. I think he drove Real Madrid to keep them in the tie against City. What a player. What a season he's having. I'm giving it to Benzema.
Danny?
Yeah, George took mine. I mean, I can't think of anyone else more fitting. Yeah. It's
a penalty, right? Would you take the penalty like that in the semi-final?
Not at the stage. And you know what was on it. I mean, it doesn't win the game, but it keeps them in the tie. And it's just, obviously he's had a brilliant season, but the longevity of his career to be at Real Madrid, and he's in the football world, he's always been regarded as one of the best. But I think he's only probably just getting the accolades that he deserves now at 34. And I keep saying I can't think of anyone else that should win the Ballon d'Or this season other than Benzema. He's been
Joe
brilliant. They do one in Newcastle today, Ballon d'Or. Yeah, he'd probably win that one.
The War Ballon d'Or, yeah.
But no, it's brilliant, and I mean, I don't know, mate, can he do something special in the second leg? Don't know.
Let's see. Listen, here's the team news in. Speaking of Joe Linton, Liverpool, there's 3 changes for Newcastle from the side that beat Norwich. Fabian Shaw, Jonjo Shelvey and Miguel Almiron all on the bench in that game. They come into the starting 11. So Newcastle line up Dubravka, Kraft, Shaw, Dan Burn, Target, Bruno, Shelvey, Willock, Almiron, Joe Linton and St. Maxi. Okay, Liverpool, 5 changes, by the way. As James Milner, Naby Keita, Joe Gomez, Diego Jota and Joel Matip all come in. That means that on the bench is Thiago, Salah, Alexander Arnold and Fabinho. So fascinating. I definitely think he's
it's a terrible bench.
Awful bench. I think a Klopp must feel that he's probably got enough to do it today whilst saving a little in reserve for the second leg. That's my thoughts.
Pete, if you allow me to say, I'm a big fan of Almiron because he plays high pressure. He's good on the press. So I'm a little bit surprised Almiron's not in the team for Newcastle. But yeah.
It seems that he's not one of the favoured ones, and I think he'll be one of the bigger names first out the door. And it's a shame because, as we say about Almiron, he gives everything at every game.
Yeah.
He just needs a little bit more of his end product mind. At Norwich, he certainly showed it because it was a wonderful, wonderful goal. But I think he needed a bit more of that to his game. Okay, it's time for. I know Kev, it feels like it's always a bit more sedate when Kev's not here, but it's time for our predictions. Me and Kev tied last week 5 apiece. Believe me, I WhatsApped him this morning to tell him. And he was like, yeah, but who won on goal difference? I was like, what? There's no goal difference. He said, no, who won on goal difference? Who was closest? So I did it, and actually it happened to be me because I had City 5-0, not 5-1. So it went against him. Okay, in the house today, we've got Andrew Burgess, Everton fan, Danny Kwang, Jace Edwards, another Everton fan, Darren DeCendry, huge Liverpool fan, Scotty and Samantha Shepherd, Chelsea and Liverpool respectively, and Lee Cosgrove, Man United, of course, is in the house. So, George, you're up first, and it's Newcastle against Liverpool.
Newcastle 1, Liverpool 2.
Okay, Danny?
2-0 Liverpool.
2-0 Liverpool. It's a popular score across the board today. I've gone 1-1. Andrew Burgess has taken 2-0 to Liverpool. Danny's taken 3-1 to the Reds. Jason Darren have both taken 2-0 to Liverpool. Scotty Shepherd, good man, has gone 2-1. But that's because he's Chelsea and his missus is a Liverpool fan, so he just loves caught in danger in his household. Scotty's gone 2-1 to the Toon. Samantha, his wife's obviously taken 3-0 to her beloved Liverpool. And Lee Cosgrove, Man United, has taken Newcastle to win 2-1, of course. Next up, George, Leeds Man City.
Leeds United will score a goal. Man City will score 3. 3-1 to Man City.
Good shout, that. Danny?
I'm going to go 0-0.
Whoa!
Okay, interesting.
Whoa,
He's got a little
more hopeful than anything.
If you move into the picture, have you got like a red sleeve on? Have you just got a little bit of Liverpool on there somewhere?
My shorts, got my shorts on.
Lucky shorts. Okay, I've gone 2-0 to City. Andrew Burgess has taken 3-0 to City. Danny's taken 2-0 City. Jace has taken 3-0 City, as has Darren. 2-0 for Scotty, 4-0 for Samantha, and 2-1 for Lee, all in favour of Man City. Okay, big game at Goodison Park, George. Everton-Chelsea.
I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw.
Okay, good shout, that. Danny?
I will go Goodison Park. I will go 1-0 Everton.
Okay, I've gone 1. I was going to take 0-0. That was with these two. There's a chance that they could beat that record. The ball might be on 28 minutes out the 90. But I've gone 1-1. And Andrew Burgess has taken 1-0 to Everton, his beloved Blues. Danny's gone 1-1. Jace has taken 2-1 to his Toffees. What else have we got? Darren's gone 1-1. Scotty Shepherd's taken Chelsea to win 1-0, his team. Samantha's taken the same, 2-1 to Chelsea. And Lee Cosgrove's taken 2-1 to Everton. Okay, George, your beloved Lily White, Spurs and Leicester.
I think Spurs have been pretty dreadful the last 2 games. There's always goals.
Saved it all for us.
Yeah. I'm going to go for a Spurs win, 2-1.
Okay, Danny?
Spurs 2-0.
Okay, I've gone 2-1 to Spurs as well. Andrew's taken a 1-1 draw. Danny's taken 2-1 to Spurs. So has Jace. So has Darren. Scotty thinks there'll be goals. He's got George. You'll be behind the sofa with this. Scotty's gone 4-3 to Spurs. 2-1 to Spurs for Samantha. 3-1 to Spurs for Lee. Okay, last up, George. It's West Ham Arsenal.
It's unfortunate that West Ham have got the semi-final, so I'm going to go for the Arsenal to win 2-0.
Okay, Danny?
Same, 2-0 Arsenal.
2-0 to the Arsenal. I've gone 2-1 to the Arsenal. Andrew Burgess has as well. Danny's taken West Ham 3-2. Jace has gone 2-1 Arsenal. Darren's gone for 2-2 draw. Scotty's taken 2-0 to the Arsenal. Samantha's taken 2-0 to West Ham. And Lee Cosgrove has taken 2-1 to West Ham. So we'll all keep tabs on that. Danny, before we go, I just wanted to catch up with you with the academy, the TFA Academy, because I spent some time up there. And like I said last time out, I was telling Kevin as well, the standard, even in your training sessions, was so high. And then just around the corner from where you guys were, there was another group of fantastic African players who were linked to Fleetwood. The standard, the facilities, obviously having someone there like yourself with the coaching that you do, the drills, was first class. Now, there's talk because Stephen Taylor's got a team in that division. Fleetwood, as I say, are in there as well. But you guys as well. I mean, it's going to be a heck of a season. So, are you in planning for that now?
Yeah, we're in the process of being accepted into Division 3 here in the Pro League. That is looking to start in October. So we're at a funny stage now where the season has finished here. Most of the boys here are they're finishing June, visas and stuff like that to go home. And yeah, we're literally planning and actively looking for all the other side of the game, the investment, the sponsorship, all the real admin sort of side of stuff. Football wise, sure. We're making decisions on players as the weeks go by, whether they're staying, whether they want to go home, what they want to do, and we're looking to get going in August for a pre-season, mid-August, and just really excited. I mean, like you said, Stephen Tails is out here. He's at Gulf United, and they've done really well this year. I'm going to watch them play tonight, actually. And next year we're looking to replicate what Gulf United have done. They're a year ahead of us. But like you said, the players, they're a pleasure to coach.
Yeah.
The standard of, as I've said before, of 18, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds that have had zero experience in a professional environment, but the capabilities of these guys, the hunger, the drive, you've seen it yourself. It's all there. So, no, really looking forward to it. It's a really good project. It's interesting. It's new to me. Obviously, it's a transition, but just loving every minute.
George, you want to see some of these players? I mean, incredible. I was excited about going to watch and be there, but to say that I was blown away was an understatement.
Wow, it's a very good standard that Danny's driving, clearly, right? And the players enjoy it by the sounds of things, right?
They love it. They some of those drills were incredible to watch, but they generally, Danny, they've just got from the moment they come in to the moment they leave, they're fist bumping everyone as they come in. They're fist bumping everyone on the way out. They put their heart and soul into it, but there's just a massive smile on all their faces.
It is. And we spoke about this, and when you do sit down with them and you do ask them, why they're not professionals or why they don't think, and you hear some of the background stories, and honestly, you'd be blown away. And but to come in, train, smile, the hunger, the appetite, the competitiveness in training is really, really, really high, and I've seen it all, and it's a balance between Division 3 next year. I'd love to win every game and win the league, but our MO is to get these guys to bigger leagues and better things, and we really think that we've got the talent. It's just digging them pathways and finding the right people and clubs and agents to connect with.
Brilliant. You could have George as a scout. He watches enough football over a weekend to know a good player, don't you, George? Is that your plan this weekend?
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. That's it for another weekend. We brought you the team news from the first game. Big game at St James's Park today. Massive thanks to Danny Guthrie as always, and to our very own George. It's been fantastic having you. Whoever your team is this weekend, Have a great weekend. We'll see you back again next week for Soccer Saturday with me, Geordie Pete Redding. Have a brilliant, brilliant weekend.